Progress. All right, everybody. My name is Taylor Corey. I represent the Deferred Compensation Plan. I'm here to talk to you all about how the Deferred Comp Plan can help you save comfortably, or help you retire comfortably, I should say. I apologize. Just a quick show of hands. How many of y'all are familiar with Deferred Comp? Almost 100%. That's fantastic. How many of y'all are enrolled in Deferred Comp? Fantastic. Great crowd. For those of y'all that aren't enrolled in Deferred Compensation, hopefully by the end of this presentation you realize what a wonderful benefit it is to you as a state employee. And this afternoon all of y'all will get enrolled. So I can see most of y'all are thinking about at least getting to that point where you're about ready to retire. And a question I get a lot from people that are getting close to that retirement age is, how much money am I going to need? What's that magic number I'm going to need once I actually do retire? Well, that answer is, if you at the very least want to continue the lifestyle you're living now, for each year you plan on being in retirement, you're going to need at least 75 to 100% of your annual salary in retirement income. So you need to plan on, and with your retirement income needs to essentially match your annual income as a state employee if you want to continue forward with the lifestyle you're living. Now, you all might have dreams or aspirations of moving to France and buying a vineyard or something like that. In that case, you would need to have more than that. So the answer is always about 75 to 100%. How are you going to get there? You need to be saving around 15% of your pay. I realize as a state employee myself, our salaries are not very high. A lot of us can't afford to save 15% of our salary, and that just ends up being too much money. But the bottom line is just saving what you can. We can only do as much as we can afford. You know, our salaries are what are given to us. We can't control a whole lot of that given the state budget, but the bottom line is saving as much as you can. As a state employee, your sources of retirement income, you're either in the FRS pension or investment plan as a salaried state employee. You're also going to have your Social Security benefits. But between those two things, you're going to need to have something extra in order to be able to reach that magic number of retirement income that can allow you to retire comfortably and not have to come back to work at 102 years old. And those options are compensation plan, whom I represent. We're a 457B plan. On top of that, if you've ever worked for the state university system, you may have a 403B. Then you can also have a traditional IRA, 401k on top of that. And there are also post-tax options such as a Roth IRA, savings account, or certificate of deposit. So hopefully you have at least one or two of those additional retirement plans. So what is deferred compensation? For a few of y'all that didn't raise your hand or need a refresher at the very least, we are a 457B pre-tax retirement plan. We are available to all state of Florida employees and all state university employees. You contribute into deferred compensation on a pre-tax basis through every paycheck, so it's very easy to save with deferred comp. You save automatically from each paycheck inside the amount. So there's no like magic number where you have to save at least this much in order to contribute to deferred comp. You can save as little as 1% or $10 per pay period for biweekly, or 1% or $20 per pay period monthly. We are designed to supplement your FRS and Social Security. As all of you know, the FRS, you contribute 3% of your salary, and the state matches that. At the end of the day, for most of us state employees, not going to be enough money in retirement, even with Social Security. So the state offers a deferred compensation plan as a way to bridge the gap between what you're doing with FRS and Social Security and what you're actually going to need in retirement. As a pre-tax plan, you are eligible to roll in outside retirement accounts. Pretty much the rule is that as long as the money is pre-tax, you can roll that money into deferred compensation. So if you've ever had a 427B plan outside of the deferred comp plan, say you work for the city of Tallahassee or Leon County, and you had deferred compensation through them, you can roll that money into the deferred compensation without penalty or fee on the deferred compensation end. I can't speak for your former employer's retirement account, but to roll money into deferred compensation, there's never a fee involved to do that. So just to toot our own horn a little bit, we reached the $3.5 billion mark back in February of 2015. That has since increased. Our investment provider companies, our plan is made up mostly of mutual funds, for all of you that aren't familiar with deferred compensation. Also have conservative type of investment funds such as fixed rate accounts, or known as in the investment business, guarantee of principal and interest accounts. What those do is they guarantee that the money that you invest into the fixed rate account is, you're not going to lose that money, and it also guarantees an interest rate of return. So that's very attractive for a lot of people that are about to go into retirement so that their money's not taking on a whole lot of risk. So we offer that option to those people. A fixed rate account is what it's more commonly known as, but a guarantee of principal and interest account, or guarantee of principal and interest fund, is the long name for it, but it's more commonly known as the fixed rate account, like a fixed rate fund, I should say. Our investment providers are Nationwide, Empower, Valak, Voya, T. Rowe Price, and also Nationwide offers a self-directed brokerage account through Charles Schwab, and what that does is that opens up your investment options. So all of you have a quarterly performance report in the folders that you are given that lists all the different mutual funds and fixed rate funds offered by our 5 main providers. If you were to enroll in Charles Schwab, that would open up your investment options to be more like hundreds of mutual funds as opposed to the 80 or so that you see on that performance report. So that's an option for those of y'all that are more hands-on investors. Deferral limits, that says 2015, but this holds true for 2016 as well. If you're under the age of 50, the annual limit, this is the maximum you can put into deferred compensation for 2016, is $18,000. If you're over the age of 50, the annual limit is $24,000. And if you are within 3 years of your retirement age, you can enroll in what's known as the standard catch-up provision, contribute up to $36,000 for 3 consecutive years, and that's the 3 years prior to when you plan on retiring. So how the standard catch-up provision is for those people that are 3 years within 3 years of their normal retirement age, and what it allows is for state employees to make up for any lost time where they weren't contributing the maximum contribution limit. And what it would do was it essentially doubles the normal limit to allow you to contribute up to the normal limit for people that are contributing into the deferred compensation plan that are under the age of 50. Well, that's one of the exceptions. I believe it's 3 years prior to your retirement age, but drop is funny because the state, while you're considered retired, you're still working, so you can actually enroll in standard catch-up right before you enter drop. But once you enter drop, once you're already in drop, you can't enroll in standard catch-up. So you always have to enroll in standard catch-up before you enter drop in order to take advantage of that provision. Yes, you can continue contributing into the drop period, you just can't benefit from the standard catch-up provision once you're in drop. While you're in the drop program? The standard catch-up? You would need to enroll in standard catch-up in the year prior that you plan on going into drop in order to be able to benefit from that. Correct. So in terms of rolling over your drop and accrued leave, once you do leave state employment, you'll have a balance of annual and sick leave. Some of you will have over 600 hours of annual leave. As I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, you can take with you up to 480 hours of your annual leave. You can either take that as a payout, or you can contribute that into deferred compensation. What a lot of people will do is they will take advantage of the standard catch-up provision to increase their contribution rate so that they can contribute as much as their accrued and sick leave as possible into the deferred comp. The amount that you are permitted to contribute into deferred compensation is the annual limit, whatever that may be, whether that's the standard catch-up provision or just the normal over 50 limit, minus what you've already contributed in that year. So that's the amount of accrued and sick leave, or annual and sick leave, I should say, that you can contribute into the deferred compensation plan. So what a lot of people do is they'll enroll in standard catch-up so that they can increase the amount that they can contribute, so they don't have to take it as a payout. Yes, sir? Yes, so you can take advantage of it for up. Right, so once you start drop, you can no longer take advantage of standard catch-up. So if you want to take the full advantage of standard catch-up, your maximum contribution limit is at $36,000, you would need to actually enroll in standard catch-up 3 years prior to the beginning of your drop period. Because once you start drop, you're no longer eligible for standard catch-up. You would only be eligible to contribute the over 50 maximum annual limit. The standard catch-up would only be for the 3-year period prior to when you enter drop. Once you enter drop, you wouldn't any longer be eligible to be in standard catch-up. So if you were just to enroll in standard catch-up, say 6 months before your drop begin date, you would be able to contribute $36,000 for for that year prior to when you start drop. So once you Right, right. No, you cannot continue standard catch-up. You can continue to contribute into deferred compensation. You just wouldn't be able to, like for example, if you were to retire in December, or if you were to enter drop in January, I should say, and you enrolled in standard catch-up today, that would increase your annual limit to $36,000. But once January 1st came around, once you entered drop, whenever that day is, you would no longer be able to contribute that $36,000 of standard catch-up. You would be eligible to continue to contribute into deferred compensation, but your annual limit would be reduced to just the over 50 limit, which is $24,000. Wow, I apologize, sir. Do you remember if it was a man or a woman, or? Okay. I apologize. I don't know who gave you that information, but we'll try to make sure that you always give the most correct information possible. So you can, if you wanted to roll your drop money over into the deferred compensation plan, you would need to make that decision within 60 days after the end of your drop period. So once you finish your drop period, you have 60 days to decide to do what you want to do with your money, roll that out. The average drop accumulation, I believe, is around $120,000, so I'd advise against taking that as a payout at once because you get slammed with an astronomical tax bracket. So what I always advise is that you roll that into some sort of pre-tax plan. Deferred compensation would be a good idea, and then pull the money out incrementally. Withdraw the money as needed so that you're not getting hit with all that huge tax bracket. By rolling that money over, you're obviously deferring taxes until you withdraw that money. And then you can continue financial growth by investing that as opposed to just taking that as a payout. So for all of you that entered drop, already you received a letter from us. We sent it out to over 5,000 people, so hopefully you all received that and were already aware of your benefits in drop once you entered that drop, your drop period letter, and hopefully you're at least somewhat familiar with your options and deferred compensation with regard to drop. So I'm going to touch on a little bit more on what your other options are in terms of consolidation, why it's a good idea. If you have any other outside pre-tax accounts, such as your FRS and investment plan, if you're in the investment plan, you could roll that into deferred compensation. Also, if you have any other 457Bs, 401Ks, traditional IRAs, why that might be a good idea for you to roll that into deferred compensation. First of all, an obvious one would be consolidation is good because you have everything under one umbrella. You're going to call 10 different people anytime you want to check up on your account. Primarily why it's a good idea is because of our low fee structure. For those of you that have other retirement accounts outside of what you're doing with FRS and deferred compensation, you know that when you look at your statement, you see such things as commission fees and administrative fees, maintenance fees. Say you change your investment fund, you see transfer fees, nickel and dimed at every turn. Deferred compensation doesn't have any of those things. The only fee that you pay in deferred compensation is the actual investment fund fee that's charged by the investment fund broker. Most of those are less than 1%, which is extremely low compared to the average market investment fund fee. But in terms of deferred compensation and its investment providers nickel and diming you with all those maintenance and commission fees and all that nonsense, that's just a way to get more money out of you. We don't really have that at all, especially compared to other retirement accounts or other retirement plans. Yes, sir. You can roll that money into deferred compensation with no charge on the deferred compensation end. Right. The money does have to be pre-tax. You cannot invest any money that's already been through taxes into the deferred compensation plan. A question I get a lot is people that want to just write a big check out of their checking account, put in deferred comp. Unfortunately, you can't do that. So any money that you invest in the deferred compensation plan has to have not been through taxes yet, which is why it either has to come from payroll before income taxes are taken out or rolled over from an outside pre-tax retirement account. I mentioned a little bit earlier about our investment options. We are made up mostly of mutual funds, which is a blend of stocks, bonds, and cash equivalents. All of these range from, our variety ranges from ultra aggressive to ultra conservative, everything in between, so we have something for everybody. We also have fixed rate accounts or guarantee of principal and interest accounts, as I mentioned earlier, and those guarantee the money that you invest, and it also guarantees a investment rate of, or interest rate of return each quarter. The distribution options you have with deferred compensation once you do become eligible for distributions, which the time that you do become eligible to pull money out of the plan is when you separate from state employment. So if for some reason you were to transfer outside of state employment and not actually retire with the state of Florida and continue working, you could actually pull some money out of deferred compensation without penalty or fee if you wanted to do that. You can either pull money out periodically, you can pull money out, you can take partial distributions, you can take lump sum distributions from your account. So all of our investment providers have multiple distribution options. Yes, sir. Correct. Well, if you were to, if you wanted to move the money into a post-tax plan, you would essentially have to it would just essentially be a withdrawal of your funds from deferred compensation, and then it would have to go through taxes. So if you wanted to do a direct rollover and not have a tax hit, it would have to be into another pre-tax plan. Yes, sir. Well, anytime you take a distribution from the deferred compensation plan or any plan for that matter, it's always going to go through income taxes. You're not required to take a distribution from the deferred compensation plan until the April 1st following the calendar year that you turn 70 and a half or retire. Some people are still working once they reach 70 and a half, so in that case, they wouldn't have to take a distribution. It would be the April 1st following the year that they retired. So it's April 1st following the calendar year. You turn 70 and a half or retire, whichever comes later. But there's never an excise tax charged to deferred compensation participants that pull money out before age 59 and a half, which with a lot of retirement plans, if you take money out before that age, you get hit with 10% excise tax on all money withdrawn. That doesn't exist in deferred compensation. We have 30-year-olds that leave state employment and take a withdrawal, and it just goes through income taxes, and it's just taxed as ordinary income. You can enroll online. All of you that aren't enrolled in deferred compensation, you can do that through our website. It's very easy, myfloridadeferredcomp.com. You can also enroll in person or over the phone if you like. For all of you that are already enrolled, you can increase your contributions online as well. In a couple weeks, we'll be doing benefit fairs around town. We'll actually be here at the Betty Easley Center if you wanted to come by and talk to us, talk to any of your investment provider companies, talk to us about enrollment, what we can do for you. We're happy to help. You can also shoot us an email at deferredcompensation@fldfs.com and then visit our website to find any information that you need. Also, if you prefer to get things by mail, we can mail something to you. We can fax it to you. We can give you anything you need. We are a local office, so when you call us, you're going to speak to a state employee, a deferred compensation representative. We work right off of Hermitage Boulevard. So you're not going to get somebody half a world away that barely knows what deferred compensation is. You're going to get a state employee that works for the deferred compensation plan, works for the Department of Financial Services, that works right here in Tallahassee. Now, do we have any more questions about anything? Yes, ma'am.